Okay, so what we're looking at here is a typical works cited page. Notice at the top that the title is works cited, both words being capitalized. There's no bold, there is no underlining. It's very simply centered with capital letters. Next, what you want to notice on a well done works cited page is the way the items, the entries are listed. If you go over here and look at Clinton, and then Dean, Gowdy, An Inconvenient Truth, Milliken, they are in alphabetical order. This is how we sort and list on a works cited page, by using whatever the first item is, whether it be an actual author of a magazine, newspaper, or a novel, or we have something, for example, here, An Inconvenient Truth is the title of a movie. It's a DVD. Therefore, whatever the title is, or whoever wrote it, whatever item you have first, that's what letter you go with. All right, so let's continue to look at our works cited setup for formatting, for punctuation, to get everything right in its right place so you avoid losing any points on an assignment. Let's look at the first entry. Notice a few things. Notice that the period comes within the quotation marks. Notice that the word may is written out M-A-Y in both devices here. Because that word is so short, it does not require an abbreviation. If you look at the next entry, we also see that may is used in the second entry. Looking at the third entry, notice things like how this here, International Journal of Sustainable Development and World Ecology, that is in italics. MLA formatting has gone from using the underline, which would equal the italics, to only using the italics. Notice that nothing on this page is underlined. They no longer accept the underlining as an equal to the italics. So don't use that. Notice that, let's look at our second entry here. You have the word web, which means you got that source from an online source, something on the web, the New York Times on the web here. We say web because it tells our reader that we got it on the web, and then 25 May 2009 is when we looked at it. All right, the date access, the date you physically went onto the computer, printed it out, or looked it up. That's what the last two items of anything on the web would look like. In the third entry, notice you have print, which means you physically put your hands on it. You went to the library and looked at a book. You opened a magazine, and it was a print version of this. Okay, notice in this entry, someone used a DVD as part of their research. All right, one last thing that I'd like you to look at is at the last entry on this page here. Notice how we have multiple authors listed. Okay, we have Michael Milliken, we have Gary Becker, we have Myron Scholes, we have Daniel Kahneman. Notice how they are listed. The first name, Michael Milliken, is reversed. Last name, comma, first name, comma, and the following authors, whether you have 1, 2, 3, etc., are all written in the normal ordering. First name, last name, in that order. The last two, they are separated by an and there's a period after the final author. Okay, what I did on this part of the works cited was I took the last entry from the previous slide, used it as the first entry to continue the last few entries of this works cited page so you could see it in a bigger print instead of having it all on one slide. Okay, so let's look at a few more things here. The key to a works cited page, it's like a recipe. You have to follow the rules for each particular item you want to use. If you want to make chocolate chip cookies, use a certain recipe. If you want to make chicken a la king, you use a different recipe. So you do have to consult a website, a helpful guide website, MLA format. You can use your MLA handbooks that you have in your book bags, But you want to look at the items. Whether you have a journal article, which this would be here, journal, title of a journal, which would then tell you to list the authors, the title, this is the title, on global warming and financial imbalances, and it comes within the journal, New Perspectives Quarterly. Then we have dates, and we have page numbers, and we have print because we got it off of a print source. Looking at the next entry, very similar. You have your author and your title with your American Economic Review journal magazine. Notice here you have a range of page numbers. It's not on one page, it's on pages 31 through 34, so you can include that. And then the last one, let's take a look at this item here, the 3 dashes with the period. The 3 dashes with the period tells the reader that this item, Global Warming Economics, is written by the same author as right directly above. So you would not have Nordhaus, William D. period a second time, even though he is the author of Global Warming Economics. You would just include the 3 dashes with the period, which would signal anyone in the know of MLA that you are using the same author, even though you're using a different work. Okay, notice again here that you have the web and you have the date you actually went into that source and looked at it, May 24th, 2009. All right, so lastly, I hope that these little tidbits helped you. The main thing you need to know about MLA formatting is that there's a handbook for it. You do not have to wing it or do it all on your own. You look it up. Is it a journal article? There's a page number for that. If it's a book with multiple authors, there is a page number that will show you how to write that entry. The structure and format is very simple. It is completely double-spaced. It is in alphabetical order. It has a very distinct title, which is centered. The last item that I did not mention, which I'll approach now, is what is called the hanging indent. So let's look here. This here, notice that Milliken branches out to the left, and the 2 items underneath it are indented, 1 indent. That's called a hanging indent, which makes the author's name or the first word of each entry on the Works Cited page standing out. Okay, it stands out to the reader of the paper. Okay, so each entry does need to have a hanging indent. I hope this little talk helped you and refreshed your memory. If you have any questions, please see me.